Welcome to PMIYC TV. Today's film is The Crush with Alicia Silverstone and Cary Elwes.
Pardon me if you can. Movie reviews.
So The Crush is from 1993 and it's directed by Alan Shapiro of Flipper fame. That's pretty cool. Cary Elwes plays a writer who's just gotten a job at Peak magazine. His name's Nick Elliott. And he needs a place to live. He rents a guest house from a couple. The father, who is Kurtwood Smith from That 70s Show, among so many other things. They're rarely home, and the mum has barely any lines. But their daughter, who's 14 years old, Adrian, played here by Alicia Silverstone, who's age 16, playing age 14 pretty well in this film. It's her first feature role. She's home all the time. And she develops, as the film's title suggests, a little crush on Cary Elwes. Look, this is a little bit Lolita, a little bit, I suppose, Hitchcockian in the way that it's a rear window to it. He's looking out of his window. He can see her quite frequently because he's in the guest house. She's in the main house. There's a lot of like, what's going on here, what's going on there. She has a crush, and it crosses the line into immediately inappropriate. There's a scene where he's having a shower and she checks out his naked butt, and all we know about her character is that she's very intelligent for her age. But she has some real psychological issues, which, got to get into as this goes along. So at Peak magazine, there is an age-appropriate woman for Nick Elliott, whose name is Amy, and she's a photographer, and they're writing an article about a $500 million embezzlement scandal. One night, Adrian kisses him, though, and that completely throws his feelings out of whack, and everything's going nuts for him. Now, it's kind of like Disturbia 2, the Shia LaBeouf film, in that she's sort of in the sort of hanging out outside the guest house in swimmers and stuff like that. There's many scenes like that in Disturbia where he just kind of can't take his eyes off of her.
Yeah. And
because I suppose in another time when age wasn't such an issue, this may have been something he would have pursued, but because it's 1993 and it's wrong and he would be leading her, he can't do it. So that's look, she's a woman scorned. He has to reject her advances. That's all he can do. And when a woman is scorned, even a 14-year-old one, consequences are dire.
Hell have no fury, Dave.
Yes, that's it. She messes up with the article he's writing. She affects his job, affects his chances with Amy, the woman from work. She builds a literal shrine to him, Lloyd, as if the symbolism wasn't enough. It's kind of overkill, and there's like the initials of the two of them, Nick Elliott plus her name, Adrian, whatever it is. It is suspenseful enough, and in 1993, I'm betting this was a pretty good film. But the third act climax is set up by Kurtwood Smith pretty early in the film. In his attic, he shows Nick a full-sized carousel he's been building for Adrian, and all he's saying during the entire thing is, "This is where the third act of the film will take place. I'd like to introduce you to it." There's absolutely no reason for him to wander upstairs and show him that, short of it being the climax of the film taking place there. Look, physically, because she's a 14-year-old girl, this comes into play as well. She flips between wanting to hurt him and saying she loves him, and ultimately she's pretty one-dimensional. As I said, all we know about her is that she's very intelligent. You could blame hormones, I suppose. But with no explanation sort of given for her behaviour, I suppose it's sort of anticlimactic and worse, and ultimately you can't help but side with him. So maybe that's just the way it wanted. As I said, entertaining enough 90 minutes. In terms of screen presence, Alicia Silverstone, you can see she's got a career ahead of this. All she had done is one episode of The Wonder Years at this point, so it's very early in her career, but she's very charismatic. And
I've seen trailers for this movie when I used to rent out VHS tapes, if you kids remember VHS tapes, and I've always been fascinated by it. It had a really awesome trailer, like this girl stalking this guy and he doesn't know what to do, so I've always been curious to watch it.
Yeah, look, I mean, I had the crush on Alicia Silverstone as well. For me, it was around that clueless excess baggage phase. we were the right age for it. So it's good to go back and see something that I'd never seen that she was in. Quick cameo alert as well. Amber Benson plays her friend, and people might know her from Tara in the Buffy series. That's Alison Hannigan's girlfriend in the Buffy series. Just a quick point that out. There's a scene in The Crush where Cary Elwes is hiding in Alicia Silverstone's closet, and she knows he's in there. She realizes, he makes a noise, and he's trapped in there. He shouldn't be in her room in the first place, but he's looking for a picture she may have stolen. And she undresses in front of the closet just to give him a full view, just to kind of show off. And, it's pretty tense, I suppose, when she knows he's in there. Entertaining enough, though, Lloyd. I would recommend it, The Crush. Don't know about it being a scary, stylish, and very sexy, top-notch thriller, but, reviews are reviews. I love
90s thriller movies where it just had that. The biggest stuff, a lot of focus on 90s movies was the threat of home invasions. A bad example, Suburban Commando, and I think that movie The Vagrant, which we reviewed on this channel, is just one example, and this is kind of like that, the suburban nightmare of neighbors turning on each other. Yeah, so I love that of the 90s.
You can find more from us at www.podmeifyoucan.com.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our podcast at www.podmeifyoucan.com.